The doorbell wouldn't stop ringing. Each press sharper, angrier, like someone was trying to break it, not press it. My back throbbed from surgery, every movement sending electric pain up my spine. I dragged myself out of bed, clutching the nearest chair for balance. My house, usually quiet, felt invaded by that constant, shrill sound. When I finally opened the door, there she was. Marjorie Tate, Cedar Grove's self-appointed queen, the HOA president whose clipboard was as feared as her tongue. She stood like she owned the air itself, chin high, sunglasses perched perfectly, tapping a pen against her clipboard like a countdown to judgment. "Excuse me," she said, voice sharp enough to cut glass. "There's an unauthorized vehicle in your driveway." For a moment, I thought she was joking. Then I followed her gaze. She was talking about my nurse's car, the one with the small logo that said Home Care Medical Services. I tried to be polite, though my voice cracked with exhaustion. "She's here to help me recover from back surgery, Marjorie." Marjorie's perfectly plucked eyebrows arched, as if I'd confessed to harboring fugitives. "Well," she said with a condescending smile, "that car has a logo. That makes it commercial. Move it or get fined." I blinked at her in disbelief. "I can barely walk, Marjorie. She's my nurse, not a delivery truck." She just stood there, unmoved. Rules are rules. And with that, she turned, scribbled something onto her clipboard, and walked off like a monarch retreating from a conquered subject. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about rules. It was about control. Cedar Grove Estates. 5 years ago, I thought I'd found paradise. A peaceful suburb where the lawns looked like green velvet, the mailboxes stood in perfect alignment, and the neighbors smiled like they were auditioning for a toothpaste commercial. But beneath the perfect hedges and Sunday barbecues lived something darker, an obsession with perfection, enforced by one woman's iron grip. Marjorie Tate had ruled Cedar Grove for almost a decade. Retired from a corporate job she never stopped talking about, she filled her days patrolling the streets, clipboard in hand, ensuring everyone lived exactly by her definition of community standards. Before my injury, I kept to myself, worked from home, paid my dues, stayed invisible. But once I came home from surgery, helpless, medicated, and reliant on daily care, I became her new project. I didn't know it then, but my quiet recovery was about to become a neighborhood spectacle. And Marjorie Tate, she wasn't about to lose control of her kingdom without a fight. It started small. A note taped to my door the next morning. Unauthorized parking violation. Second warning. Second? I'd never received a first. Then 15 minutes later, I heard it, the low, metallic growl of a tow truck. I hobbled to the window. There it was, reversing into my driveway. Flashing amber lights cutting through the daylight. The nurse's car already halfway hooked up. And standing beside the driver, clipboard in hand, smirk plastered across her face, was Marjorie. I opened the door as fast as my injured body would allow. "Stop!" I shouted, gripping the doorframe for support. "You can't tow that car. It's my nurse's." The tow truck driver hesitated, looking between us. "She said it's unauthorized," he mumbled. "She's a medical professional," I said, voice shaking. "I just had surgery. She's providing care." Marjorie rolled her eyes so dramatically it was almost theatrical. "He's lying. There's no such rule." But I had anticipated her. Through pain and nausea, I'd gone through the HOA bylaws the night before and printed the entire section about medical care exemptions. I handed the papers to the driver. He skimmed, then nodded. "She's right. Healthcare vehicles are exempt under emergency or medical necessity." Marjorie's face tightened. Her lips pressed into a thin, white line. "Unbelievable," she hissed. "You people think you're above the rules." She turned and stormed off, heels clicking like gunshots on the pavement. But not before muttering the words that sent a chill through me. "This isn't over." 2 days later, she was back. I noticed her through the blinds, a lawn chair set up across the street, sunglasses on, clipboard balanced on her lap like she was bird watching. Only she wasn't watching birds. She was watching me. When Sarah, my nurse, pulled up, Marjorie stood immediately. The same ritual, clipboard ready, lips pursed. She crossed the street, heels clicking, and called out, "Your sessions last an hour, correct?" Sarah frowned. "Usually yes." Marjorie tapped her clipboard. "Visitor parking is limited to 45 minutes. You'll need to shorten your stay." I could barely believe what I was hearing. "You're really doing this?" I asked, stepping out onto the porch, wincing with every step. She smirked. "Rules are rules. Everyone has to follow them." Sarah stayed professional. Cutting treatment short could affect his healing process, ma'am. Not my problem, Marjorie snapped. 45 minutes, or I'm calling the tow truck again. Her words hung in the air like poison. From that day, she made it her personal mission to document everything. Every car that visited. Every package that arrived. Even the number of minutes Sarah's vehicle stayed in my driveway. It wasn't about enforcing order anymore. It was about domination. By the fourth visit, my patience and my back were both wearing thin. Sarah and I were mid-session when, right on schedule, the doorbell rang again. I didn't even need to look. I knew it was her. Marjorie stood there, wristwatch raised like a weapon. 5 minutes left, she said. That was it. I snapped. Marjorie, this is harassment, I said, voice trembling with anger. You're interfering with medical care. That's illegal. Her smirk didn't waver. You can't threaten me. I am the HOA. Behind me, Sarah pulled out her phone, quietly, calmly. She'd been recording everything for days, photos, audio, timestamps. Every word, every visit, every violation. I didn't know it yet, but that file she was building would soon be Marjorie's undoing. It happened the following week. Sarah pulled into the driveway right on time. But this time, Marjorie wasn't alone. 2 HOA board members stood beside her, both uncomfortable but too afraid to challenge her authority. As Sarah opened her car door, Marjorie stepped in front of her. You're trespassing, she barked. Sarah took a breath. Please move aside. I'm here to provide medical care. No, Marjorie snapped. You're not authorized. Leave, or I'll have the car towed. Sarah tried to walk around her, and that's when Marjorie shoved her. Hard. The sound made my stomach drop. Sarah stumbled backward, catching herself on the car door. From my window, I saw everything. The push. The aggression. The look of power on Marjorie's face. I didn't think. I just grabbed my phone and dialed 911. An HOA president just assaulted my nurse, I said. I have witnesses. 10 minutes later, red and blue lights flooded Cedar Grove. The perfect lawns reflected the chaos. 2 police cars parked on the curb, neighbors peeking from behind curtains. Marjorie stood in the middle of the street, still clutching her clipboard, yelling about community rules and private property. But then Sarah calmly showed the officers her phone. The video played. The shove. The words. The witnesses. Everything. The officer's expression hardened. Ma'am, he said firmly, you're being charged with assault and interference with medical care. Marjorie blinked. You can't arrest me. I'm the HOA president. The officer exchanged a look with his partner. Ma'am, that doesn't mean you're above the law. Her clipboard hit the pavement. Her manicured hands trembled as the cuffs clicked around her wrists. The neighborhood queen, dethroned on her own street. The silence that followed was unlike anything I'd heard in Cedar Grove before. Just the faint buzz of crickets, the hum of police radios, and the sound of justice finally being served. The following week, the HOA board called an emergency meeting. Marjorie sat at the end of the long wooden table, pale and trembling. No sunglasses. No clipboard. No power. I watched from a distance as the vote took place. One by one, hands raised. Unanimous, the vice president said. Marjorie Tate is hereby removed as HOA president effective immediately. Marjorie's lips quivered. You can't do this to me. This is my community. But no one answered. The same people who used to nod at her in fear now avoided her gaze. The power she'd built for years vanished in a single motion. She left the meeting alone, shoulders slumped, the sound of her heels, once sharp and commanding, now hollow and slow. Sometimes justice doesn't shout. Sometimes it just arrives. Quiet, inevitable, final. These days, Cedar Grove feels different. No lawn chair stakeouts. No doorbell wars. No angry notes. Just quiet. Birds. Laughter from the kids down the street. Sarah still visits, without fear. Sometimes we joke about the HOA queen, and how quickly her kingdom fell. But beneath the humor, there's a lesson I'll never forget. Some people mistake control for strength. But real power? Real power is knowing when to stand your ground, even when it hurts to stand at all. And every time I look at that driveway, I remember, peace is worth fighting for. For more cinematic stories like this one, make sure to subscribe.